Greetings, folks. This is Nick from Jenga FX, the founder of Jenga FX. We got 105 people currently on the stream. It's pretty good. We sent out that email. Got a lot of people here already. And 34 likes. Thank you, guys. The more likes you give, the more YouTube shows other people the stream while it's live. So thumbs it up if you like these streams. Okay, so basically, where do I start? I haven't really been at my house for like 3 weeks, so kind of rusty on this. But what we're going to do today is I got a whole list of things to show off. We're going to go through Alembic files now. So not only can we load FBX, but we can also load Alembic now. And initially we said Alembic was not going to be in 0.7.5, but it turns out the FBX SDK supports some Alembic files. So we're going to have that. And then also going to show off like masks on animated meshes. So whether that's defining a specific bone that you want to emit from, or like a set of vertices that are attached to bones. Also going to show off like vertex painting. We're going to show off some new stuff like chromatic abrasion, or aberration rather. And we also got like some new smoke scattering stuff. Looks like we have vorticals as well to go over. Some improved like smoke masking stuff. So if you want to mask your fire, with like between your smoke and whatnot. So we got that to show off. And then we've got a lot of stuff to show off in EmberGen 0.75, like the true build with the UI. We got some cool new camera controls and modulation curves and all kinds of stuff to show off, like, I guess, how advanced our new UI is actually going to be. And so plenty of really cool things there. So it's just a matter of time before we get into that. Before we get started, I wanted to show off a couple of things from some of our customers, just to kind of kick the stream off. So I'm gonna grab this this right here. So this right here is from, I guess you say, Machinima JP. This is a Twitter post that he made, and basically it's all EmberGen. So he used Blender and EmberGen. Really awesome. If you got our email, we had this as a GIF inside of the email. This animation is so cool that he was able to do this with the current version of EmberGen. So very awesome. You guys should check out their Twitter. They got some really cool stuff. Plenty of EmberGen throughout their feed as well. So really cool. So go ahead and check that out. Somebody said, are we uploading the video after the live stream ends? Yes, this will be on the same link. There will be a video on demand after this. The next thing I wanted to show off is from a guy named Edgar Davey. I believe that's how you pronounce their name. And they made this nebula with Cinema 4D and EmberGen. So really awesome. This nebula is so cool, and really like it. It's a really cool logo reveal, and so really high detail. And so that just shows that EmberGen is ready for some of this stuff. So really cool animation. You can go check that out. It's Reflection Nebula if you want to look it up. And then the last thing I'll show is this Dragon Ball animation made by Kareem Joseph. These clouds were exported to Blender, and they were all made with EmberGen. He has like tiling clouds essentially on the base, and then like a singular cloud object that he scaled and rotated to make all these clouds. So really cool animation, really high quality clouds. And once again, this is all coming out of EmberGen as is with its current build. So really cool animation there. And then the last thing that I'll show for videos is I made a little we have our turtle and snail that were animated. I need to speed up the animation. Basically, the snail is a grenade, and we'll have this as a preset to show off animated meshes. But definitely cool. It should be pretty comedic and teach you guys how to use animated meshes. So that's going to be one thing that's coming with the next build. So explosive snails, fire-breathing turtles, that kind of thing. So our models are getting some pretty good usage there. All right, so that's basically the videos I wanted to show off. Some cool things from around the community. Other than that, let's go ahead and see. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and open up the this version of EmberGen first. This is the UI that we all know and love. And the first thing on our list is Alembic and Vertex cache loading for FBXs and stuff. So we'll go ahead and open up a project. I'm going to open up this concrete explosion. And so you can see here we've got a big like explosion concrete thing happening. Lots of chunks and debris. They are colliding with the smoke, kind of pulling things down. I believe this was an Alembic file. So really awesome. And if we kind of step through, we can see you got all the chunks coming through, that kind of thing. So you can definitely import Alembic now, and then we can see like some particles affecting things. And this particular preset's a bit slow because I have a really large bounding box, but it's really cool. And we hope that Alembic will work well for most things. I think that if you have Alembic files where the vertices are changing and things like that, so like the vertice count, I don't know if we'll support that. So for instance, if you have like a liquid Alembic file and like you have like all the tendrils and stuff and vertices are being deleted, I don't think that we support those Alembic files yet because we're relying on the FBX SDK from Autodesk right this second. But for now, if vertices are always the same count, you can definitely get those in. And you can see we have some decently high quality smoke here. I wish I had more time to work on the fire shading and stuff, but this was just what I came up with before the stream. So definitely pretty cool stuff on that front. Also, let's see, what else do we have? So let's see, I don't think I have any other animation in particular. So let's go ahead and create a new preset, and we'll open up an animation file. And for instance, here's like a cloth animation. And we can just bring in like a collider, and we'll put in our animated geometry. We can fit to scale, hopefully. Okay, there we go. And let me just maybe turn off our fuel here. We'll turn up our smoke. And you can kind of see the cloth dropping. And what we can do is we can increase like our positional offset. And now you can see the towel or cloth or whatever is colliding with the smoke. And so it's really pretty cool. And the other thing to mention here, we can actually hide simulations now inside of the renderer, which is cool. We have polygon based rendering. So previously in our streams, we had some really ugly like volume shading, which volume shading doesn't appear to work on this particular mesh, but basically it was just voxels. But now we actually have polygons that you can render with and see your mesh in higher detail or whatever, so that you can get a pretty good idea of how things are scaled, how things are going to look, and that sort of thing. So definitely really awesome. And maybe we can, I think you can delay the animation by a couple of seconds. Yeah, so there we go. And so now you can see it kind of wafted the, the smoke or whatever. And this might need like a little bit of tweaking or whatever. But the gist is that it does collide, so that's really cool. And so one thing that doesn't work yet is like if you change the position of your colliders, the mesh stays in the same spot because like it has its own independent position and whatnot right this second. So that's something that we still need to fix, but it's coming. And so let's see if we have any other Alembic files or whatever to open up real quick. Oh yeah, so we can open up our turtle, which is gigantic. Holy crap. We need to make it like ×1, no, maybe ×10. There we go. So here's our little turtle, and so this is one of the animations that's going to come with EmberGen. So you got the little snail grenade, and then he explodes. So really cool. So we'll have that coming as well. And so if you guys missed our last stream, these are our new mascots. It's the explosive duo. We have a turtle and a snail. It's kind of like Blender has a monkey, Houdini has a pig. Well, we have both of these because EmberGen is so fast. We figured we'd get the slowest animals in the universe to represent our software. So, but they're a badass duo. He can explode, he breathes fire, that kind of thing. So we'll have some really cool presets with them. Let's see what else is on the list. So that's basically Alembic and vertex caches. The next thing I'll show off is masking. So we'll dive a little bit more into how these animated meshes work, how you'll be able to use them. So in this case, we have just the animated geometry, plugging it into a collider just so that we can see. So we're not going to emit anything from these kind of things. Yeah, sloth gang. Rip. Yeah, no. Well, I guess sloths are probably slower than turtles, huh? But too late. Sloths look too much like monkeys, so we had to go a bit farther than that. Somebody said, what about multiple meshes? Multiple meshes are not supported yet. They will not be supported in 0.75. If you want multiple meshes, you would need to put them all into the same file and then export that. So, I mean, you can have like, a ton of cubes or, airplanes or whatever. And if they're all in the same animation file, then you can have multiple meshes. But like as separate individual files, it's not going to happen right now. Just because it's really difficult to do, and we don't have the time to get it done, but eventually, but not yet. Okay, so with these masks, so basically what this is showing right now is it's showing the green channel. So if we look right here, we can see, mesh masking 1, mesh masking 2, and we can see on mask 2, we're using the green vertex color, and then this right here is just some green vertex paint that we painted onto this mesh. If we turn off our masking, so let's see, render all, so we can see the full character right here. And so this right here is the full character. The other one was the green vertex mask. And then if we wanted to, we can do like, say, the red channel. And so the red channel in this case for vertex paint is just the hand. And then what it does is we have like this reference value. And so basically anything over this value is going to show up. So if we go below 0, technically everything in the red channel is below 0. So you're going to see the whole mesh. And then as you move this, you can kind of animate it a little bit, especially if you have it painted as like a gradient. So we can see that's kind of getting animated or whatever. So if you wanted to animate a vertex mask or have something kind of grow, you can have a gradient that goes from 0 to 100 in a particular channel, and then animate the reference value, and that would allow you to animate your mask. And we can see if the green channel animates a little bit too. Yeah, so you can kind of see here, like if you wanted to do, say, a dissolve effect or something like that, you could do that with this by animating like a specific vertex paint channel. Let's see. What's the max geo count for meshes like RBD? I don't know. You'll just have to try stuff, but we've tried, I want to say that we've tried some really big files in general for like Alembic caches and stuff, and things work. So it's more along the lines of like your polygon count versus like how many objects it is, I think. But then again, if you have, I don't know, tens of thousands of like transforms or something like that, it's probably going to be pretty slow. So you would want to bake it as like a vertex cache or something like that. And as Gil in the chat said, you can have millions and millions of polygons, so not too much of a problem. So the next thing that I want to show off with this, so besides vertex paint, is if we select mask 3, we can see that this is a lot cleaner. And the reason why it's cleaner is because we're actually selecting this through a transform name. So you can do, RGBA vertex colors or a transform name. So for instance, if you know a specific, name for your mesh or something like that. So let's see, maybe hand will work. Yeah, so if you type in hand, it's going to show both of your hands. Oh, whoops. There we go. Let's try again. Okay. So go ahead and start that. So you can see both of the hands are masked. We can do something like, you know, leg. We can do, you know, head. Actually, got to capitalize. There we go, head. Things like that. And what we'll do is we'll also have like a transform name browser so that you can select specific names or pieces of names and things like that, so that you can just select things from within EmberGen rather than knowing, oh, hey, this thing is called a hand, this thing is called an arm. In this case, it's kind of obvious, but in some cases it might not be. And so we'll make sure that we have like a transform browser for that kind of thing. And so you can do like left, you know, arm, whatever. And I wonder, I don't know if you can. Yeah, so it doesn't look like you can do multiple things. If we selected this and made this a transform name as well, then we could do hand. I think maybe I'm wrong. Oh, I need to show off that mask too. There you go. So then you can do like hand and arm. So you can do like a dual mask system. And so now we have both the arms and the hands that are doing this. So pretty cool. So really cool that you can mask things in a custom way. Of course, if we plug this into our thing for some reason, I cannot remember why it's emitting from everything. Maybe Gil can tell me in the chat what to do. But it's technically supposed to only emit. Oh, I know what's wrong. I know what's wrong. I need to actually put in the mask as the shape. There we go. Okay. Yeah, because I put in the whole animated geometry. So here it is emitting from just the arms and the hands. And in this case, maybe we would need to turn up the thing. And it looks kind of offset. Maybe that's because the mesh is offset or something like that. And so, but yeah, we'd have to figure that out. But in general, it should, in theory, emit perfectly from the meshes. Doesn't look like it's doing that right now, but it will. Okay. So what's next on our list? So we went ahead and went over Alembic. We went over mask on your meshes. Oh, I'll load in the turtle file again just real quick, so that we can show off another thing that we have. So if you import a mesh like this and you can't find it or whatever, we have a fit master to scale option. And let's see, render all maybe. For some reason the turtle is not showing up. Okay, well, it disappeared. Such is the life of a build on stream, right? So, but technically, the let's go ahead and just do a new project. Let's try that again. Collider, shapes, animation. We'll load up the old turtles again. Animated geometry and fit to scale. Huh? Maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe this one just doesn't want to do it. Okay, looks like I broke my yeah. Okay, I think I broke it. Rip. Okay, well, it is what it is. We'll restart EmberGen just to make sure that we have a clean shader on the GPU or something like that. Okay, what is a stream without problems, right? All right, so basically it would fit the mesh to the bounding box and stuff like that so that you can find it. But it's neither here nor there now. We're moving on. So we did masks. We showed off the polygon rendering, which is really cool. So that's awesome. One thing to note is that if you have like your polygon rendering, the lighting is only like visible within the bounds. And after you move out, the mesh is not going to be properly lit. Because all of our rays are casted within the bounds for lighting. We also have camera shake, chromatic aberration, and I guess you say vignette, something like that. I don't know how you pronounce this, the dark edges on screens. So we have these post-processing settings. So if you want something more cinematic style, if you're rendering like your full scene or something like that, we have that as an option. And then we also have the chromatic aberration. So if you had a big explosion or something, so let's go to, let's see, Mega Blast. So here's a bigger explosion that we did real quick just to show off our masking. And if we go into our scene and then we change this to chromatic aberration, you can see that it has some pretty cool distortion applied to it. And so if you want to do that and you want to create a render that has those types of effects, you'll be able to do that inside of EmberGen. So really cool. And you have like different iterations. So if you want to change the amount of steps that it has, things like that, you can do that. So really, really cool. So I said, is it possible to make EmberGen CPU friendly? No, because it's all on the GPU. So yeah. Let's see. So we have a bug going on down here, if you guys can see it. Don't know what's going on right there. It's like broken pixels or something like that. It's interesting. I wonder if that has to do with the chromatic aberration. It appears so. Okay, so we have that. And now while I'm here, might as well go ahead and show off our new masking stuff. So with this, we're using, so inside of our shading node, we have this this masking active. So if you're not masking the flames, this is what you're going to see. Just huge overblown smoke isn't occluding the fire or anything along those lines. But if you turn on the masking and we change like the density reference and things like that, you can get like those glowing cracks within the smoke. And it's really awesome to I guess, one, make a more realistic explosion, and in some cases stylize your explosion. And if you want to preview the mask, we have this new preview here where you can actually preview what the mask is doing. And the darker the spot, the brighter the flames showing up will be. And so it's really cool to kind of tweak and get a good idea without all the other colors in the scene to see how that mask is affecting everything. So we have that, and we can see that if we turn this off, this is going to be more stylized because it's a pretty harsh mask. But then if we go here, we can see that there's going to be a lot more glow within this. And if we hide the mask, or unhide the mask rather, whatever, we will be able to see the explosion. So pretty cool, new feature right there. Let's see. The next thing says, I haven't tried this yet, but we will figure it out. I probably should have tried this before the stream, but we'll see. So it says if you add a line force and you have a fall off, it should have a line segment. So I checked that, and let's see. I would presume that would mean like a range for this, but it might not be working in this build because we have the line segment here, but I would think that it would be like a cage around it to show you where the fall off is, but I cannot see it. Okay, so maybe that's broke. We'll move on. The next thing is a really cool simulation feature, and so this is something that has been asked for by quite a few people, and that is vorticals. So basically, if you don't know what a vortical is, it is a particle that is inside of your simulation bounds, and around that particle you're creating a vortice essentially. And so we have a vorticals test project here, and we can see here we have no vorticity or anything like that set up in the scene, and all the vorticity that you see is coming from those vorticals. So we can actually show the vorticals. So we have a vorticals viewer, and so if we pause it, we can kind of pan around the scene. You can see all the vorticals within the scene. Eventually, we're going to have it so that you can emit vorticals from a mesh versus them just being randomly populated throughout the bounds. But it's pretty cool. You can see that they just kind of flow around and rotate and whatnot. If we go into the simulation node, that's where they currently live. And if we scroll infinitely, we can see that we have 512. We can reduce the count of them. So say if we wanted, say, I don't know, 60, but then we wanted to increase our radius to be rather large, so say between 32 and 70 or something like that, and then we hit our vorticals. Now you can see we have really wispy smoke, and so this is going to be a good way to where if you want to do something like cigarette smoke or, you know, anything really wispy or ethereal or whatever, vorticals and no vorticity on your sim is probably going to be the way to go. So we can show these vorticals again. And we have a couple of different cool parameters. So basically you have the vorticals count, right? You also have the min and max radius. So we can bring this down. You can see that the radius of these vorticals is going to change. It's going to become a lot smaller. We also have the attenuation ramp, which basically says how much of a ramp for this, like the vorticity or forces that we're injecting into the sim, like what is the ramp for that, the curve for that. And so basically if we have a really high attenuation ramp, it's going to go up. It's going to be a peak right at the center where this like center bar is, and then after that it's going to quickly fade out to nothing. And you can see here the sim is being affected a whole lot less with high attenuation. And if we lower the attenuation to really low, most of the vortical is going to do high force injection. So really cool controls there. We also have like a min and max velocity, so you can really kick up the velocity for this. And I mean, you can even do something like say 15 or something. And you can see that the more velocity you have, the bigger the little preview gets within the vorticals. So definitely cool. And then of course we have like the lifetime of them. And then we have an advection intensity. So for instance, if I go to a new preset here and we have like a scene where there's high advection, if we go to our vorticals and we turn them on, you can see that right now they're just static, right? They're not flowing with the sim or anything like that. But if we turn on our advection intensity, they will flow with the simulation. So then you can have swirls that are being carried up by the temperature of the simulation or the advection of the sim. And then, you know, your swirls and stuff will seem more dynamic, seem more realistic versus them just staying static. So pretty cool. And then of course, the last thing we have is orientation dampening. And so basically the vorticals try to orient themselves in specific directions, and the lower your dampening, the crazier they are. And you probably want a rather high dampening if you want realistic, you know, vortices and things like that. So this is one way that we're doing things to kind of, you know, give you extra control over the simulation, and this is a really cool feature. And so that appears to be pretty much it for this particular build. There is one more thing actually. If we go to, let's see if I have it. Let's see. I guess we can just kind of create something here real quick. So basically, we'll turn off our fuel. We will increase our smoke rate, and we'll hide our vorticals here. I'm going to remove the skybox on the ground. And so we have some new shading stuff here. So we have our volumetric shadow intensity. And one thing that we can do is we can kind of crank this lighting intensity up a little bit. But we added new octaves for phase attenuation. So essentially we have better scattering through our smoke now. And so it actually has different octaves. And so I want to say that this is million, maybe, but it might be meters. I'm not sure what the M stands for. I should ask one of our programmers. But basically, the more octaves you have, the higher resolution your scattering through the smoke is going to be. And so you have like lighting anisotropy. I think that's how you say that. My word pronouncer for all this stuff sucks. But you have like your phase attenuation. You have contribution, so how much your light is being contributed through the smoke, things like that. And we'll have some nice helpful tool tips rather than contribution. Maybe we can come up with a good definition of what it's actually doing. So this is a good way to get, you know, clouds, things like that, and have some really nice highlights. And then of course we have you know, shadow softness and things like that. But in general, the smoke is getting a lot better. And so we're trying to aim for more realism, more light propagation, things like that. And if you want less light propagation, you can always increase your density or the amount of smoke that you're emitting and things like that. And in this case, I think that we have a pretty high smoke dissipation rate. Let's see. Yeah, so we have a pretty high smoke dissipation rate. So we can lower that. You can see we have a lot darker smoke the light isn't penetrating through the back here anymore. So we can kind of change the shadow density and things like that. So just some more extra fine-tuned controls and whatnot. So that kind of stuff is coming along. It's moving on. So now let's see here. I have a preset. Whoops, my camera got blocked. I have a another build to show you real quick within the stream build here. So let's see. So this right here was a cool preset that our VFX artist Jason made, and he posted it on Twitter. It was pretty cool. So in this case, it uses animated meshes, and it's really awesome. It's like a dude stirring some air and creating some kind of cool spell thing. So really awesome here. Just wanted to show this preset off to kind of show the interaction of animated meshes and forces and things like that. So really cool. Real quick, I'm gonna go through some of the chat to make sure I haven't missed anything. And by the way, if you have questions about anything, feel free to talk in the chat. Let's see, can't wait for animated meshes. Awesome, they are coming. I am running on a RTX 3090, yes. And then let's see, I also got a new laptop coming that has a 3070 in it. I actually managed to get one. I couldn't get one with a 3080, unfortunately. They're all sold out. But let's see. Is the mesh loaded on the GPU? Yes, it is loaded in the VRAM as far as I know. Do we plan multi-GPU support? Yes, we have plans for that. I don't know when it's coming, but we have plans. It is difficult to do, though. Can you export the masks to Blender? We have plenty of masks that we can export, like Gil said here, but not sure the extent of what our mask will be. If you have any examples of like the masks that you want us to support, let us know and we will be sure to add it. Yeah, Andreas Glass said emitting from particles, advecting with particles, and finally rendering as particles. Got to go deeper. That is correct. And so yeah, let's see. Let's see. Anything else? Just moving through. When can we get the Vorticals? Whenever 0.7.5 is out. So whenever this build is out, we will have access to that. Somebody said it's been a while, but is EmberGen exporting VDBs in Alembic or GPU particles able to be exported yet? So you can export VDBs. You've been able to do that basically since the very beginning. But exporting particles, not a thing yet. That's going to be really difficult. So I don't even have a timeline for when particles will be able to be exported. But as, let's see. Yeah, so if you wanted to do particles, you can export that as an image sequence. And because we have camera imports, because we're going to have animated mesh imports, all that stuff, and compositing tools, you will be able to export your particle system tracked with like your track cameras, and it'll look 3D when you composite it. So that's not a problem. When will this be out of beta? So we think this is going to be out of beta maybe sometime this year. We hope to do 1.0 sometime this year. If not, then sometime early next year. But don't let the beta tag confuse you. In a lot of cases, this is production ready stuff. And for 0.7.5, we plan for this to be production ready for film, because we're going to have compositing tools and camera imports, animated meshes, all that stuff. So going to be really awesome. And then Kai says, still waiting for the adaptive size adjusting. So after 0.7.5, yeah, what happened to no dates? Well, that's not a date. It is a tentative maybe this year, okay? And if not, hopefully next year. And if not then hopefully the year after that. I don't know, right? So no dates anymore. is the gist. That's what I'm trying to abide to. It's really hard though. Really, really hard. But yeah, I don't know. 0.7.5 for sure this year. But and for people who have a license in our Discord server, we're going to be releasing basically this build that you see here sometime within the next week or 2 weeks or something like that, before the end of the month. So definitely in March, we're releasing a new build, and hopefully, I cannot promise it though, hopefully things will be integrated into our new UI, which is this. And so, but I cannot promise that at all. But at the very least, you will get access to camera imports and animated meshes and all that good stuff sometime this month, if you have a license and you are in our Discord server and you have the license user tag. Yeah. Oh yeah. So about the adaptive size, I kind of went off on a tangent. So off of the tangent. Okay, whatever. Sparse simulations. No bounding box, expandy bounds, whatever you want to call it. Yes, it is planned. After 0.7.5, we are doing a, I guess you could call it a full optimization pass, code cleanup, tech debt removal, whatever you want to call it. We're doing that process. We do not have a timeline on how long it's going to take, but whenever that process is finished, on the other side, the byproduct will be sparse simulations. So there won't be any bounding box. You can have really, really long trails. It should be far more performant than our current version of EmberGen is. So really, really awesome. It's definitely coming. We've done some research on it so far. Our research is very promising on the sparse simulations on the GPU. So it's just a matter of time before it comes to fruition. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Douglas says, do you have control for timescale? Not yet, but retiming is coming in 0.7.5. So it's coming. We're going to have a full retiming module so that you can change the timescale and all that stuff. So definitely coming. Will there be multiple sparse areas? Yes, I think so. In the research that we've done so far, you can try multiple different sparse areas, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. So yes, tentatively yes, but I don't know for sure. LiquidGen, no timeline, no comment. When it's done. That's our new thing. There you go, Glad. I'm abiding by my new rules. I'm not going to say anything about timelines because we can't be held to them. Okay, so we've got the new UI popped up here. We got some cool new stuff to show off. Let me take a good swig of water and then I'll show off some cool new things. You can see an oscillator here. That's pretty hypnotizing, I guess is the word. Okay. So actually real quick, Maddie says, you mentioned earlier in the stream, with the Dragon Ball character had tiling clouds. Did you mean tiles of clouds, or will we somehow be getting tiled simulations? So let me look on our forum. The guy who made that has posted some quick stuff here, and so you can see, maybe I can open this and zoom in. Okay, yeah. So basically, he just has a ground piece. It in itself does not tile, but yes, we will have tiling simulations eventually. But in this case, he has like these tiling clouds, and he just kind of pasted it throughout the scene, and then he has like this big cloud, and he just scaled it and rotated it and all that stuff, different angles. And he has the camera kind of going through the scene and whatnot. And if you look back at it, then you can kind of see how that was all put together. So definitely pretty cool. So really awesome, very simple. So just a bunch of pasted VDBs, and he kind of built the cloudscape that way. So really, really cool. And that's you can find that in the EmberGen experiments thread on our forum. So pretty awesome. Blizzard acquisition confirmed. When it's done, that is the case. When it is done. Zach says, any plans on anything similar to Houdini where we can manipulate velocity similar to VOPS? I guess that's VOPS. I have no clue. I don't even know what that means, but maybe if you give us a better definition of what that means. Okay, so diving into the new UI. So what is new? First off, we actually have a camera that moves inside the new UI. And so I guess that is a good place to start. So with the cameras, we have greatly simplified things. If you try to animate a camera in the current version of EmberGen, you will find that the camera will just freak out, right? It'll just completely freak out, all that stuff, you know. It does not work very well. The camera is over constrained and everything. But now we have a much better control system. And so we can go up here to our cameras. And so we actually have a little widget here now that says cameras, tells you what it is. We have the default camera, which lets you pan around and do whatever you want. And then we have the actual camera selection, which is this camera here. And then we can change like our field of view. You know, we can change the position of the camera, which maybe that doesn't work yet. We also have like the azimuth angle, our polar angle, roll angle. So we actually have roll inside of this as well. And so pretty awesome. We also have orthographic projection, which I don't know if anybody even uses that because it sucks in my opinion, but we have that as an option if you want it. So what's new, right? That's what you're asking. Well, what's new, Nick? So we're going to have nodes that have special use cases. And you can see that after we plugged in this control option for this look at node, it's going to do exactly what you think it's going to do. So in this case, we are looking at a specific position. So if we change the look at position here, we can slide this through and we can tell the camera to look at a specific point. We're going to have other options like, say, a plume tracking control, right? So if you have a plume of smoke that is moving up and you're trying to export stuff for games and you want to find the center of that smoke plume at all times, we're going to have a node that will just get the controls for that, give you some parameters to mess around with, and the camera will automatically follow that plume for you, right? So we're going to have numerous control nodes for cameras, you know, look at. I think we also have one that's like spherical. Yeah, so we have like spherical look at. So basically, like we have like the radius of the camera. We have the angle so that you can do quick rotations around things. We have like polar angles, things like that. So definitely going to be awesome. You can change like the focus position. So this is going to be a really powerful way to control your cameras. And one thing that we can do is if, for instance, say we exposed this to the timeline, then we have our oscillator signal. This is a good chance to get into the oscillator node. So we can change the frequency, which we probably want it to be way less. So in this case, if you want to do like some automatic frequency-based pans or whatever, you can do that. We can change, you know, the phase. We can change the, bass outputs, things like that. But the big key thing here is that we have like an actual line output viewer. So within this version of EmberGen, anything that can be viewed, hopefully anything that can be viewed as a line graph or something that's animated or a curve or a noise texture or whatever, anything that has like a bias, things like that, we're going to have a output preview for you so that you can view what exactly is happening without having to, say, connect things to your node or whatever, and you can just preview things. So for instance, we have noise. So if you wanted to, for instance, let's just say we got this radius here, and I haven't done this before. Let's say that we wanted to give the radius noise, and I guess we probably want to, let's see, we'll do like 2, 2, 2. Maybe that's what we want. So you can like inject a custom noise into this. We can change like the frequency of it. And this is going to give you a very powerful way to create custom patterns without having to do a bunch of different keys. And so let's see, looks like my base, so let's do like 1 or whatever. So now you can see here, and by the way, if your camera is stuck, that's probably because you're like stuck in this node right here. So you need to change back to default if you want that kind of stuff fixed. So yeah, so we have noise that you can do through oscillators. You'll be able to create as many oscillators as you want. So definitely gonna be awesome for people to mess with this stuff. And we can see the cool frequencies and whatnot. So definitely awesome. We have like a saw pulse. You know, we have a pulse wave. We have, if we go back to saw and we change this, you can kind of see what saw means. So really, really cool. That is the gist of the oscillator node. That is a good question. Can you plug an oscillator into your oscillate to oscillate your oscillator? Okay, well, let's figure it out. So we got our frequency. We will do this. We will plug in another oscillator. Look, it automatically knew that it was doing that. So what we can do here is we are changing the frequency. Let's do noise. So yes, you can totally oscillate your oscillator. Pretty damn cool. So yes, you can oscillate oscillators, and we will oscillate the noise with the noise. So there you go. There's your thing. So yes, you can do that, which is pretty cool. Which you might want to plug it into something else. I don't know, maybe phase or something like that. But you can totally have oscillation inception. But it gives a pretty cool thing. It's kind of like a torch flickering or something like that. That's pretty cool. Good idea. Looks like our programmers already thought of that because they had the signal already. Okay. So next, let me drink some water, and then we'll dive into more. We've got even more for you. Okay. So the next thing, we have an animation node here. Imagine that this animation node is an animated mesh that you've imported. In this case, animated meshes aren't in our new UI build or whatever, but just imagine that it's an animated mesh. We can see here is the animation duration. So if we said, hey, you know, we want to kind of retime this animation to fit these particular frames or whatever, by default, it would probably just load. So if it's like a 2-second animation or whatever, it would automatically go to say 2 seconds. And then this right here is what you would see. And then you can move that animation around, which I should get with our UI guys. Oh, looks like you can drag it that way. Would be cool if we could select both of those. So UI guy, if you're watching, would be nice to select these keys. But anyway, so let's just say that, you know, for the sake of ease of dragging, that it's 4 seconds. But maybe the animation isn't particularly, you know, timed the right way, or you want to give it a little bit more, you know, for whatever reason you want to retime the animation. So if we just increase this to say 20 seconds so that we can see this chart a little bit better. And actually what we could do is we go back to 4 seconds and go here. Like I said, we're going to try and have like little curves everywhere that they matter. So in this case, if we wanted to kind of retime the animation, we can add a little bit of a curve to it if we want to. So just like that. Or if we wanted to add another point to the curve, and for whatever reason, if we wanted to change the animation to look like this particular curve, and maybe you wanted the animation to kind of go backwards in one spot, you would be able to customize the timing of that animation based on this parameter here. So really, really awesome. And of course, if you need to, you can always, you know, undo, redo, all that kind of stuff. So pretty awesome. Hey, JCW Holland, nice to see you here. Okay, somebody said a search icon for text bar for easy usage. Yes, we do have that. So if you want to search for anything, so say vorticity, you can search for vorticity. If you're in the node graph and you're like, hey, I want an animation, You know, I want an oscillator, whatever. You know, I want a force. You can find anything that you want through various search bars in any particular view. So yeah, totally. We have search bars as an option. Quick search, whatever you want to call it, we have it. What does this 100 do? I don't know. Oh, interesting. Oh, I see. Okay, so with that, going back to camera controls, because I accidentally skipped over it, I believe we go to settings, preferences. So we've had a lot of people say, I don't like your camera controls. They're so weird. They are not the same as, what do you call it? They're not the same as the industry, or I want Blender controls or whatever. Well, look at this. We have options for Blender or industry compatible. In this case, industry compatible means Maya, I believe. So if you want to, you know, move around, like I'm pressing Alt and left mouse button, Alt middle mouse button, Alt and right mouse button, drag. So yeah, so if you want like Maya controls or whatever, you know, you want Blender controls, whatever you want, or just our personal default controls, you will be able to control your mapping. We're also going to have like turntable, trackball, orbit sensitivity, whether or not you want to invert your direction, you know, how your zooming works, like what your zoom axis is. So like if it's vertical, you know, up and down, whatever, you'll be able to do that, invert your zoom direction. Anything you want, you'll be able to control that through the preferences menu so that you can navigate EmberGen any way that you please. We also, inside of our preferences, let's see, general, layout mode, flipped. So some people were like, I really, really like EmberGen. So we showed off the UI like 3 weeks ago. I really, really like everything where it was in the current EmberGen. So if you want the flipped mode, you can flip everything onto the other panel. You can rescale things however you please, do whatever you want. So if you want all that stuff flipped, you can flip it. So if you want the old UI, you can have it with the new version. So it's really up to you however you want things. I'm kind of falling in love with the left hand side, but you know, maybe I'll keep the right hand side. So it really just depends on what you want. So next, so we did oscillators, we've done viewport controls, I believe, yes. The new layouts, we went over preferences, simplified camera controls, we went over that. Look at control mode, we went over that. Let's see, viewport camera selection. Yep, so you got your different cameras. I believe if we add like another camera here, for whatever reason that won't work. Maybe we need to fix that because it can have multiple cameras. Maybe you need a separate capture node. Camera 2. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so there's camera 2, camera 1, you know, default, whatever. So you can do that kind of thing. We also have a modulation curve viewer. So yes. So if we go into the renderer and we go into volume post modulation and we change the count to 1, previously, so let me just open up the other version of EmberGen here. So if we go here and we go into the volume node and we turn on our modulation count, and you can kind of see what it does. Like you've got like this bias, and you've got like gain and modulation max and modulation min, but we don't really know what it does, and it's kind of hard to, you know, tweak or whatever. And you're like, what does all this stuff mean? You know, what does it mean to map our temperature to flames and so on and so forth, right? Well, this is kind of where our new UI is coming into play. So in this case, and by the way, we now have a thing where you can hover over any viewport and hit control space and full screen something. So if I'm doing a demo here, we can full screen something, or also you can hit this little widget thing up there. But control space, hovering over any viewport will do that for you. So we'll full screen this so that we can see this widget a little bit better. So for instance, let's say that we wanted to, you know, do temperature to our flames or whatever, and we wanted to change the bias, or we wanted to change the gain. We can see that that's not affecting anything. But once we start changing the maximum intensity and say the minimum intensity, we can see this curve here. And now we can actually preview the bias of the curve. We can preview the gain of the curve. We can change the source min and source max. So for instance, we can go here, and in this case, I'm not exactly sure what the source is. Maybe it's the temperature range or something like that. We should have like maybe some numbers or something on here to fix this up. But basically, you'll be able to control your curve in a custom way and see exactly what it's doing. And this will give you a better idea of, hey, why isn't my thing working? Why don't I see any changes? And so if we reset everything here and we go back to it and you say, hey, why isn't gain working? It's probably because you need to change like your minimum and maximum intensity. And that will, I guess, give you the hint that something else within this needs to change. And of course you can do multiple modulators. So, you can have different curves and whatnot for different things, smoke on smoke, smoke on flames, whatever. So a pretty powerful editor is coming with this type of stuff. And what would be kind of cool in the future, maybe, is if we could like grab the curve and just kind of move it manually. So really cool. Clifford says, will the animated meshes for colliders and emitters with Alembic and FBX be in the 0.7.5 release? Yes, that's the whole point of this release, is to have those in. Okay, when? We don't know when. We don't know when. However, one thing that I can say for sure, Jackson, is if you have a license and you have joined our Discord server, and you have messaged me, Nick Sievert, your license key, I will add you to the licensed users testing channel, and within the next week to 2 weeks, so before the end of March, we will give you guys what we have with animated meshes and all that stuff, just so that you can test it, so that we can get more feedback before we do the actual release. The actual release is dependent on all of this stuff coming together into the new UI. That's what one of the big holdups basically is, or what one of the big holdups are, whatever, is the new UI. We have a lot of stuff that we have to implement. We have to do all the animated mesh stuff and port that over into this build as well. It's a totally separate code branch. So there's just a lot of things that need to happen, and we want to make sure that this new build with the new UI is absolutely perfect. So yeah, somebody said, what is the Discord? I will post the link in there in the chat. So there you go. That is the Discord link. So anything else that's new? Control space. Okay, yeah, so with our color picker. So let's go ahead and let's see, how do I get to a color? Let's see. Here we go. Let's just do like dense color. So we've got this color picker, and it's pretty cool. If we change things or whatever, like let's say that we got to this blue and we really liked this blue, but for whatever reason, we didn't save our swatch or something like that. Then we accidentally go over here and we say, oh shit, I just messed up my favorite blue. Well, whoops, I guess it's not in here. But I saw it in our Discord chat. I should have tested that, I guess. Let's see if I can find it. So basically, just real quick, yes. So here we go. I will open the original. Hopefully this will animate. So here we go. Control Z on color pickers should, in theory, work. Just a matter of time. And so yeah, so you can see that it was being able to be Control Z'd and all that stuff. So pretty cool, but it doesn't work on this current stream. So with that said, anything else? Let's see. Oh yes, tidying up nodes. So in this case, let's say that we wanted to tidy up these nodes. We can select them and we can do, here, we'll try again. Select, tidy up. And so it will kind of tidy up your nodes and make them look a little bit better. And of course, if you want to, you know, align things, say to the left or whatever, you can do that. If you want to tidy up these nodes, you can do so. And it just kind of cleans up your node graph a little bit. I think that maybe this functionality should get a little bit more, so that, you know, maybe if you do this, tidy up, it changes things a little bit more to kind of fix things. So depending on like the link location or whatever, it would kind of change things. But anyway, so we have that as an option to kind of tidy things up, which is pretty cool. Yes, I did show favorites, but I can show it again. So for the people who missed it, we do have like favorite parameters options. So for instance, like I use vorticity all the time. You know, I might use, so like, let's go to our renderer. I might use, like, let's see, smoke color or something like that. So maybe I want to show off our smoke color. And then maybe inside of the directional light, you know, I have like light intensity that I'm always saving. And so now if I go to the favorites tab, I have direct access to those parameters without needing to go to those specific nodes. If you click a node, it goes back to the node, but you can always go back to your favorites tab and then change, you know, your vorticity intensity or your light intensity or whatever it is that you want. So really, really awesome to be able to favorite your parameters. So pretty cool. Let's see. Let's look at some questions. We got plenty of questions here. So let's see. Would it be too difficult to make every window separatable and snappable to and from the main window, kind of like Unity? That is planned, but it's not going to be in our initial 0.7.5 release. It is a bit complex to do that kind of thing, but we would like to be able to do that. And like right now, like you can't rearrange windows or anything like that. That kind of thing will come in the future too. Yes, my voice is cracking for whatever reason today. Would you consider adding OCIO support? Let's see, OCIO. Is that like the open color standard or something like that? I just saw that the other day. Maybe it's possible that we would implement OCIO, but I can't guarantee anything. I can see how it would be useful for film users. Is auto keyframing in there yet? Yes, to some degree. So let's go to our timeline here. We'll kind of expand this, and what we'll do is let's just grab like our position or something like that. If I change our position values here, and then while this is playing, or at least while it's playing, it should do it. But anywhere you pause it and you move this, you should be able to change your position, and it'll just kind of automatically add keys for you in that spot. You can also shift click, add keys wherever you want, you know, click and do whatever. And then of course, we can grab the playhead and preview the animations as well. So you can scrub these types of things. And if we go into our curve editor, we can kind of see the crazy little curves here. And kind of see where things are. So yeah, pretty cool. So I guess I sent it into infinity or something like that, but definitely pretty cool. So hopefully that answers your question for auto keyframing. It's not like exactly full auto yet, but we do hope to like have like mouse recording. So like you can grab, you know, this thing right here through like a widget or whatever, or like your gizmo, timeline is playing and you're moving things around and it's just automatically keyframing those things. So it is planned. Sasan says, thanks for all the hard work. Also, thank you to our team, because they're the ones that do a lot of the heavy lifting on the code side. Is there any plan to adjust panel layouts and save them default? Yes, we do have plans for that. I don't know when like the whole like changing panels locations is going to happen, because that's quite a bit more code work that we have to do for that versus like this locked layout. But we do have plans to support that in the future, and any settings that you change. So like if you change like your camera, you know, view mode, like if you want to use like Blender's controls or something like that, all that stuff will save like in your default settings, and every time you open EmberGen, it'll keep the settings that you have. So let's see. Bye bye, Shrimpsy. Yeah, so okay, so just more people talking about OCIO. Yes, we did update the JFX License Manager 2. It uses our new UI, so it's pretty cool. Anything else? I don't think so. We have a lot of cool icons. We've got more stuff coming. You know, plenty of cool new features to come. That's kind of the gist of this stream. I don't really have anything else to show. Unfortunately, I don't have a bunch of like new presets or anything because I was gone for a couple weeks. But I wanted to go ahead and show this stuff off, show that we have Alembic, kind of give you guys an update on, you know, when things are coming, you know, how licensed users can get 0.7.5 inside of our Discord server, and things like that, which you'll get it in a couple weeks, and we'll ping everybody in the licensed user channel. And so just so that you guys know, if I can show you the channel real quick so that you can see what you're missing. So if we go here, you can see we have a licensed user channel. You need to PM me your license key if you have it. And all these people, they have licensed user tags. So pretty awesome. We give custom builds and whatnot. And so pretty cool. So definitely coming. So join the licensed user channel, PM me your license key, and then whenever we're ready, we will give you guys access before everybody else. So yeah, future looks bright. Great job. Thank you. HDR supported. Yes, you can export EXR files. So just real quick, we can kind of go to that. So let's see. So if we go here and you go to export image, and we went here and we just said, you know, test or whatever, choose EXR, save, boom, HDR. And you can control your HDR settings with these various tone mapping methods. So we have various HDR tone mapping methods. You can change that, see the exact preview of what you're exporting here. And then as long as this is EXR, it will export as HDR. If you want to join the Discord server, there's the link to the Discord server in the chat. How do you change the view of the collider? I need to blow smoke inside of the model, but I can't see anything when the sun is on. You can't really wireframe anything right this second. And doing stuff inside of the mesh is kind of hard. You'll just have to eyeball it, unfortunately. Can we get export config saved? So I guess that means if you have a specific configuration you want to be able to export that, we can probably do something like that. I don't think that'll be a problem. Okay. And Tyler says my annual license ends on the 26th. Even if you have an annual license and like it's about to, you know, like you're not going to renew or whatever, you still have a license. And like even if you've had a license in the past, you can still join our licensed user server. If your license isn't active, obviously you can't export, but you can still get early access to the build if you want. And if you did buy a year worth of EmberGen, you get a perpetual license. So if you bought a year and you're not getting the year 2 subscription for extra maintenance or whatever, that's completely cool. You're going to get updates until 1.0 anyway. So yeah, still PM me, send me your key. I'll add you to the licensed user server, and you'll be able to try the new builds when they're ready. So yeah, hooray! And so far we just hit over 1,000 playbacks. So over 1,000 people have come and gone on the stream. That's pretty awesome. Cool. So I think that's everything, guys. Today's stream was a little bit smaller and shorter, but still showed off some really cool things. I got to show off some cool stuff. Can you, real quick though, somebody has a question. Says, can you show us the animated mesh emission sample you shared on the LinkedIn? I have one that was shared on LinkedIn recently, which is this. So we had this one right here that I shared on LinkedIn. But if you have any other one that you're talking about in particular, I would be happy to show it if I can. Jiri says, what about the people who have a subscription to Octane to access EmberGen? When will we get the new version? Yeah, so for Octane users, you can message me proof of your Octane subscription and I can give you access to the licensed user channel, but you won't be able to export anything with the builds because you need a license key for our standalone for this version that we're going to release to work. Because the Otoy build that we have is completely different, uses a completely different login system and all that stuff. Our standalone doesn't have any of that. So you won't be able to export, but you can still test if you want. But yeah, you just won't be able to export anything. Somebody said, shows in EmberGen. We don't see much of it. Maybe in another stream. It's our little, what would you call it? I wouldn't call it a problem child, but it is interesting. Maybe I'll show just a little bit of it. I can show you guys what EmberGen actually is. Hey, my license expired. Great. So basically, what EmberGen is it is a vector field generator, and it's going to mesh with EmberGen decently well. You can see why I call it the problem child. It's really hideous. But then again, it was our first product ever. We've expanded our knowledge quite a bit. I think the coolest feature in EmberGen, or not in EmberGen, in EmberGen, is the ability to make custom vector fields with splines. So if you want, you know, some flow and some rotation around it, and we can go to like our particle settings. It has been a while since I've used this tool. Let's see, we can do like 25, 25, 25, something like that. And then we can change our spawn position. You can see we don't even have gizmos in this for these things. Let's see, what axis is this? X. kind of derpy. There we go. So now we've got this thing kind of following the spline a little bit, and we can add in like some. Let's see, you got to go here, and you can add in a extra tangent or whatever if you want. Kind of drag this through. You can also do things like, you know, go here and create a helix and kind of adjust things. So yeah, it's a funky little piece of software. Honestly, it's truly funky. It's not the best user interface. I know I'm not selling it very well, but I mean, it does its job. It creates vector fields. So I think this is one of the first times I've seen this. Kai says, will you converge both EmberGen and EmberGen at some point? Honestly, probably. You know, like right now they're standalone, and EmberGen has its whole use case for games with, you know, completely different stuff. But I mean, it's definitely interesting, nonetheless, to see all this stuff. But yeah, it's pretty old. It's pretty old. But you know, you can do like various rotational, you know, vector fields and stuff like that, and then you could export this to EmberGen, load it in, and have custom fields or whatever. Or if you want like you know, point attraction for smoke or whatever, you could export these types of fields and kind of, you know, change this stuff you know, you can change the origin and whatnot. And one day we'll probably have like animated vector field support and all that. But yeah, so this is EmberGen. This is all it does. It just generates static vectors and whatnot. So yeah, that's it. Hello, EmberGen. At least we made a new logo for it, right? Yeah, our LiquidGen, as it says here, release to be announced. No word on when that's coming. Yeah, so yes, Linux is coming. Version 1.0 of EmberGen. In version 1.0 of EmberGen, we're gonna have pretty much everything planned. So let's look at our roadmap here. We can do our roadmap. We'll bring this up. So we got this. We can see what's coming up on our current release. If you want to get to this, you can go to our website and you can go to EmberGen Roadmap. Click that. It'll take you to our Trello board so you can see our progress. This is all the stuff that's coming in the next build. And in future releases, basically most of what you see here is probably going to be in 1.0. We have Linux and Mac support right here. So 1.0, it's going to get Linux and Mac support. We're probably going to have like volume caching, DPXR, stuff like that. Nano VDB support, volumetric painting. So if you want to like paint clouds in 3D and stuff like that, we're going to have that. We're going to get like magic of voxel support for any of you voxel editors out there. You know, particles as debris, maybe even some simple granular solving. That's a stretch. I don't know if that'll actually happen, but it's possible. VDB importer, audio MIDI support, counter animation for looping fireball, stuff like that. Supporting multiple simulations per scene. So yeah, lots of cool stuff to come. Lots of cool things. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions, but otherwise I'm gonna go ahead and I guess conclude the stream. We made it in an hour and a half, so that's good. Yeah, that's basically it. That's all I have to share. Richard says, will EmberGen be able to provide my boss with a personality? We have some pretty steep claims with EmberGen, but I don't think a personality is it. I'll leave you guys with a meme. There's a meme that circulates the old internet, which actually that is not the correct one. That is the original meme. Let's see if I can find it on our Facebook here, real quick. I'll show you the meme. Here's the original. You can look at it while we wait. The learning curve of popular 3D software. How awesome, right? Houdini, very hard. Unless you've spent years of your life learning it. But however, we have come up with a better image. EmberGen was missing from it, unfortunately, and so we added it. And one thing that you'll notice is that the learning curve of popular 3D software, the time spent, the more time you spend, they all kind of get more difficult. But we said that's kind of weird. Why do tools get more difficult the longer you use them? With EmberGen, it should go down. So we added EmberGen with a downward slope. At first it's kind of hard, then it just kind of goes down. The more you use it, the easier it gets. So there's our meme. We repurposed it and added us to it. So there you go. That's that. Yeah. And so that's it. Thanks for joining our stream. You know, that's all I've got to say. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end it. If you have any questions, ping me on Discord, ping us on Discord, whatever, and we'll answer your questions. So peace out and have a good one.